So this is definitely not the intro that I had in mind for this video, but I can't find my Carhartt beanie, so for now it's just a normal black beanie. Besides that, I had a thought that kept me up all night last night, and well, I just want to tell everyone or remind everyone to shoot film or to start shooting film, because film is a very finite thing. It's not going to exist in the next 20-30 years. Well, I really hope it does, but you need people shooting film in the first place to keep film alive. And I really do like film, and I really wouldn't be doing anything photography related if it wasn't for film. Today's video is really just me embracing and doing the absolute most with film today. With that being said, I'm going to be giving you my first impressions of cinestill 800T. I only shot one roll for the sake of, well, I want to make sure I'm using it right. So since this isn't a review and there's a million videos on this film, I'm just going to give you a quick rundown as to what this film is in case you don't know. Cinestill 800T is a 800 ISO color negative film that's pretty much repackaged Kodak motion picture film. Repackaged for the purpose of photography, so 35mm and medium format, or 120. Repackaging this stuff means that they need to make sure that you can develop cinestill 800T in normal traditional color negative C41, otherwise known as what a normal consumer, such as myself, develops their film in. This transformation means that they need to remove a certain layer, also known as a remjet layer, in turn creating halations, which is really what this film is known for. You already know all of this, so I'm just going to get on with the rest of the video. This video starts off after work when I realized that it was insanely foggy and I really thought it would look pretty cool on film. So I got my brothers to help me out, and by help, I mean I just needed someone to make sure my car wasn't gonna get hit in the middle of the road. First inside tip for night photography: it's a lot easier if you have someone there with you. It's insanely hard, or it's not hard, it's just a bigger challenge than it should be if you're shooting at night by yourself. Considering this is the second shot, I want to mention that this film is tungsten balanced, which explains the T after, the 800T. Most films are daylight balanced because, well, people tend to shoot during the day most often. This is also a good time to mention that cinestill 50D, also known as cinestill 800T's lesser known cousin, is daylight balanced, which explains the D after the 50. So a little history about film. Back then, people really couldn't go into Lightroom and adjust their white balance for their photo. So there's really only left people with one option, and that was to make sure that their film was color balanced to the scene that they wanted to be shooting. In comes tungsten balanced film. This sort of film was really only used for interior situations or just any sort of scene that was lit with artificial light. With this being said, back in the day, there was really only one sort of artificial light, that was tungsten light. So people really needed a way to counter that yellow light. That goes to explain as to why this shot transformed from a yellow light to a soft, white, almost bluish hue. I don't know, I think this is super interesting, and I don't really know if people really know the deeper purpose of having a tungsten balance film. So yeah, thought I'd tell you just in case you didn't know. This is actually the shot that inspired me to come out that night. Honestly, it kind of sucks. I don't like it that much. I took two because I wanted to see if the light trails from the cars would sort of somewhat complement the photo. But I don't know. Again, I don't really like either of them right now. I just thought I'd mention that. probably my favorite shot, mainly because this is not what I saw through the camera. Focusing was extremely hard because I really couldn't see the trees. I just saw the shadows, and well, needless to say, I think it's a little crazy how long exposures really do bring in more than what your eyes can see. You could get super nerdy or like super technical, but I'm not going to bore you like that. I just really thought I'd recommend anyone and everyone to try night photography at least once. First of all, I'm sorry, I know it's a little dark, but it's the next day. It's not yesterday. It's been like a whole 24 hours. Besides that, I want to finish the roll, or I need to finish the roll, and just in this one place, in this one little plaza, there's like a couple of shots that I want to get. Just to close this video off, these two shots were a complete waste, if I'm being honest. The first one was a 2 to 3 second exposure, I think, but I wanted to overexpose the last shot. Clearly, I forgot to adjust my shutter speed, so I got a 1 second exposure for this last exposure on the roll. They're both usable, I guess. I mean, it's really only underexposed by one stop, but it's not what I was going for. I guess what I'm trying to say is that these two frames are definitely not my strongest photos. Besides that, this video is really just about my first impressions on cinestill 800T, and my first impressions are super positive, if I'm being honest. I don't know if you expected me to say that I hate this film or that this film sucks, but you know, it really does live up to its expectations. Everyone knows this film stock, everyone knows it as pretty much the hypebeast of film. I love this film. It really does have such a unique characteristic that you really can't bring out in any other film stock, let alone outside of film photography as a whole. I will 100% be using this film at least once a month, but with that being said, I really do want to mention that this film is kind of expensive, especially for medium format. It's $12 a roll plus shipping if you want to include that. You might be looking at around $16 a roll for 10 shots. These two frames are by far my favorite photos, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video and these photos. They were a lot of fun to work on, minus the editing, because I always hate editing these videos. Besides that, consider following me on Instagram. My @ is like right here, and as always, it'll also be down in the description. You should also consider subscribing, consider liking the video if you like the video, consider sharing this with your mom, and yeah, I'll see you all next week for some more film stuff and stuff. Yeah, that's it, bye. If I'm being honest, I really do wonder if any of you ever make it this far into the video.